Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to another video in the case study spicesplate.com, where over the shoulder we take the approach of looking at one of my affiliate websites, taking it from a ground zero to earning an income online. So in the previous video, we did some keyword research. And just before we go to the next video where we actually start writing some content, we actually need to look at that keyword research, pull out some of the relevant keywords and do a little bit more keyword research to increase the ability to rank, but more importantly, the intent that we're looking to obviously rank for. So let's jump over onto the screen. As you can see here, we already itemized three of the main areas that we're looking to do: the cooking, the growing, and the medicinal intent for the particular website. We obviously know herbs and spices, spices being much more prevalent than herbs. We already had some that had been created by the previous content writers, the person I bought the website off. So saffron, cardamom, and eucalyptus. It's easy for us to go out and start building a lot more. But then we also looked at some of the medicinal purposes, such as inflammation, high pressure, diabetes, and low blood pressure as well. And then some of the subsequent terminology that we can start using in order to develop out the keyword research. And here's an important point. Whilst we are doing our initial keyword research, it doesn't just end there. We can keep doing this as time goes by. Not on too frequent a basis, but every month, every quarter, it pays to revisit and refine more keywords or phrases that are going to push the needle and increase your ability to rank online. Okay, we'll cover that a little bit more in future videos as we refine the process. So looking at this, you can see the yellow tabs are obviously the planning, where we decided what we're going to do before we start doing anything. Then we did our research, started doing our research. So we defined our intent across the three areas, who our target market is and how we're going to monetize those. And then we started gleaning some of those keywords. We looked at the competitors, we looked at the marketplace, we looked at the keywords they're ranking for. And then we also use then the SEMrush tool, the keyword magic tool. You can obviously use something like Ubersuggest if you're looking for a free alternative. It depends on what your budget is, but ultimately, if you have an SEO tool, which SEMrush is, it's going to make the job a little bit easier. And as you can see here, we already pulled out 12,000 potential keywords and phrases, which allow us then to start narrowing it down. Anyway, we've got two more to do today: questions and news topics, which really do open up the ability for us to write good content. But before we get there, let's do a little bit of something I mentioned in a previous video, where we start grouping, filtering, and ordering the keywords to find the ones that we need. So let's start literally where we are in the keywords magic tool. And as you can see, we pulled out lots and lots here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by the search volume first and foremost, largest to smallest. And you can see there's Sonoma medicinal herbs. I don't know what that is, but clearly that ranks for quite a high term. Keyword difficulty is quite low, and that seems quite favorable as well. If I take that term, let's just copy paste it. Let's just put it into Google, because I honestly don't know what that is, to give us an idea of what we're looking at. So, okay, so yes, we're right off the reservation, as it were, here. This is obviously to do with a business in California. It is not relevant. That's fine, not a problem. This is the point of putting everything in one place, where we start filtering and looking at it. Okay, the next two make obviously perfect sense: cooking herbs and cooking spices. So under our main intent, do we have the word cooking spices and cooking intent? No, but we know it's going to be very, very relevant to this particular topic. So what I'm going to do is and this is a dynamic process. If you want to use the resource file, I'll make sure there is one below. There is no right or wrong here. Now I know the cooking is obviously going to be one of those silos I need to build out. So I'm simply going to put a heading in here. Let's just make that a little bit larger so we can see what it is. And hold on, let me just click the right field. And what I'm going to do is put in there, I know, cooking herbs and cooking spices. And we can do how to cook herbs and how to cook spices, or the best cooking spices or the best cooking herbs, we can use modifiers in order to get more out of them. So if we use things like best, how, then we can see how we can probably draw out more of a specific topic to go and write. Okay, so back in the keyword tools, I know spices are pretty good, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow down to something we already had. We had saffron there. Let's have a look what keywords relevant to saffron rank. So this is why we favor Excel. Let's just type it in there, saffron, and it's going to come back with quite a few elements. Okay, we kept the search volume on there. Already we can see there is a selection here, and there might be some duplication here. We could do dedupe if need be, but we're not going to worry about that for the moment. So cooking saffron spice, again, there's a potential keyword in there. Cooking with saffron spice, yeah, there's a play on words there. You can see there's a reasonable competitive density there, which says that there is activity there from an organic search point of view. How to cook with saffron spices. So you can see the word cooking comes in quite a lot. So I'm definitely going to take that first term and use that. And I'm going to stick that under my cooking one, lovely jubbly. Now the next one I'm going to do is cardamom. I'm back into there. Let's clear the results. Select all, cardamom. Make sure I spell it right. And it's not so much that, but look at that as well. Cooking seems to be the most prevalent term as well. So again, let's bring that to the front. And that gives me a good, clear idea of what you're doing with that particular spice. And then the eucalyptus is the next one. It would be interesting to see if it's a power of 3 and it says cooking with eucalyptus. Let me select all. Eucalyptus. Let's make sure we spell it. Did I spell that right? I've got to get used. No, I didn't spell it right, which will explain why. I'll just copy and paste it. It'll be easier, which is why it came back with no result. Not a surprise. And still says there's no match there, which is a bit of a surprise. I'm just going to try that again. Select all and put it in there. Nope. Okay, so there's no match there. Right, fine, no problem. I'm not going to worry about it. There's lots of work to do here, but again, because it's that ongoing process, 12,000 could be 100,000 keywords in a few months' time when we keep doing the research and we keep going back and forth, that rinse and repeat process. So let's jump into keywords. These have been selected via looking at these competitors which we pulled in. And again, this is not an exhaustive list. We literally looked at the medicinal side. Obviously, we've got the cooking and the growing to do as well. I haven't got around to that, but we'll have to do that. So if we just look at it from the medicinal point of view and we look at the keywords, then in here, again, let's do it by search volume, smallest to largest. And you can see herbs and spices, but it's very generic. So let's be a little bit more on point. Knowing that we're looking at these companies from a medicinal point of view, let's look at what's ranking on page 1. So let's go from smallest to largest, and you can see healing herbs is a good term. Herbs for anxiety, herbs for weight loss, these are brilliant. Then these are exactly the ones I'm after, because that's the rhyme and the reason for this particular website. So healing herbs, and if I do that, control and select the other two and copy. Then I'm going to bring those onto the main. I'm going to go for growing is there. That's that one. And then I'm going to put medicinal here. And let me just do these, color these, keep it organized, make these a reasonable size. And then I'm going to paste what I've just found from the keywords there. Copy, paste, back in here, and copy, paste. There you are, lovely. So there's 3 excellent terms for us to start. And it's obviously, if we just put in, let's take this, very specific, nice little niche here, herbs for anxiety. Let's come over into Google and let's just simply type it in there. And by doing this, it will give me some of the questions of websites that are currently ranking for that term. And therefore, we can go off and write an article on that particular topic. So already, our keyword research has led us down to the road of providing something in the context for people with anxiety and how herbs can help them, but how do we word it? So as you can see here, there's some paid advertising, there's a rich snippet here, there's the people also ask, And already here we are for some organic terms. So herbal treatment for anxiety, is it effective? Natural remedies to alleviate anxiety, and I know WebMD is quite a big one out there, as is the Mayo Clinic. 5 calming herbs to soothe anxiety, 5 calming herbs and spices to fight stress and anxiety. So you can already see we can be building our own sort of terminology around that, and we'll come to that in the next video where we look at actually content writing and how we can draw out great headlines that answer the intent and make sure that we rank for herbs for anxiety. Okay, so let's just jump back into our keyword research. So we're happy with that. Herbs for anxiety, absolutely fantastic. So let's go back into the keywords there. What else can we pull out? Well, we can see weight loss is a big one there. So if we narrow down, let's just narrow down for a minute on anxiety. Let's come into here and type in anxiety. And let's see how many keywords come out to build out that particular topic. And you can see it's quite popular. So therefore you can see predominantly herbs tend to be much more popular than spices. You can just see the frequency of the keywords in this particular column, and more importantly, you can see how many permutations of that particular phrase, herbs and anxieties, play out in many different ways. So you can clearly see there are many ways to write this content. And looking at the search volume, there's quite a large mix right across all of this that allow me to write great topics on it. Now, the other thing I would look at as well, because I can see medical news today, seems to rank the most popular, is what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knock off all the others and I'm purely going to look at theirs. And this is where we're starting to filter within the keyword file. And then I'm going to look at the URL. And you can see it's purely one article that is drawing all this content in there. And that's great. This shows me how important that one article is and potentially how much traffic it is bringing for that particular article. Now let's, proof for the pudding. Let's throw this into SEMrush and let's see what SEMrush says in regard to how popular that one particular web page is. Let me just jump onto my SEMrush account a minute and we'll just pop it in there and press return. And that will look down at we don't want it on a root domain, we actually want it on the exact URL. So it looks at the individual web page as opposed to the whole website. And then we'll come into the organic research. So that way then we're looking specifically at the keywords that rank on that one individual web page. And you can see there's the web page itself, herbs for anxiety. It currently ranks for 1,200 keywords in one article. For one article, 1,200 keywords. Wow. If we look at the positions on that, this will give us a breakdown. We could pull all those out purely for anxiety, and you can see that the number of references in there, and they're obviously relatable keywords in there as well. You can see it ranks for just shy of 1,200 keywords in there. But in a month, that single article is drawing 14,000 organic traffic, 14,000 visitors a month to that single article, which is great. It shows you how popular that is. That spurs me on to see how important that particular medical element can be served by herbs. So how do we make that better? Well, that's the game to be played, peoples. That is the game to be played. So I'm going to pull this out because that is great information I need to incorporate into my resource file. And this is what I said to you earlier. It's about being dynamic. You keep it moving forward, keep acquiring this information because it gives you a good idea of where you're going. So I'm just going to copy all that a minute. And then I come into my main resource file. And this is where, these resource files can get crazy big, but only if they serve a purpose. That's the only rhyme and reason I do them, and I've done them multiple times for clients, that they literally have a roadmap that they can be writing content for weeks, months, if not sometimes years. I've just completed one for a client, and I've given them 12,000 topics they can write on. 12,000. So it doesn't matter how big your team or how small they are, there's more than plenty content you can write. Obviously, I give them a roadmap to say which is of more importance than something else, so they're not writing something that won't rank. 12,000, we'd love all to gain those many articles on ours, but it takes time. So let's just put that in there, and that is everything to do with anxiety, which is absolutely fantastic. We come back to the main here, and we can see anxiety is one of the main terms there. Weight loss is another. We know blood pressure and so on. You can see how this is a rinse and repeat process. Let's just come back into our keywords. We can see everything there on anxiety. Let's just do it now for weight loss, just to get an idea. And weight loss. And as you can see here, weight loss is exactly the same. Plenty of keywords. And you can see there's plenty of frequencies in there again for herbs and spices, to be fair, from what I can see. So again, it's medical news. I need to make sure I click all of those if they're therefore relevant. And you can see there are plenty of other articles as well. Now, just before I do deviate, let me just come back to the anxiety one, where we had this article. Let's go and check this out on Google a minute, just have an idea of how good this particular article is. And therefore, to rank against it, we have to make something better. So 9 herbs for anxiety. There it is on, yes, let's accept, medical news today. I'm just going to run my plugin as well. It's called SEO Minion. It is free on the Chrome. It gives me an idea. So there's 2,000 words that are written on this particular page, so that gives me an idea. It also breaks down the headings for me. 9 herbs for anxiety, and you can see each of the particular herbs have been pulled out. This is great. This is exactly what I need to be writing and introducing all these particular types of herbs that I have no idea how to pronounce yet. Passion flower, that's about the only one I'm going to go for, and lavender. But the ashwagandha, yeah, some chamomile. Some of them are going to take me a little while to get my tongue round, but this is the challenge. This is what makes affiliate marketing so interesting, is that you actually learn more about a topic and you can earn money from it at the same time. So hopefully that gives you hopefully that gives you an idea of where we are. I'm going to carry on with this because this could take hours and hours, and then we'll start the next part of our keyword research. So give me 2 minutes and come back. Welcome back. So we have one final part of research to do before we can start doing all our content writing. Jumping back on the screen here, you can see the last part is to use something called use topics. What this does, it takes that particular niche we've just researched in our reference file, which is anxiety and herbs. And if we just use that, we can basically now establish some of the questions that are ranking online. So if I jump back into Google, let's type in use topics. And this is it is a paid tool, but there are free elements to it. And as it happens today, we're quite lucky. It is the free side we're using. Under resources, people also ask, or PAA for short. And all we need to do is put in the abbreviation. So herbs and anxiety. We don't need to elaborate on that, like the herbs for anxieties, because it will do the different permutations. And what this will do is it will crawl the internet to look for organic phrases that are currently ranking and being asked on the internet. And that will give us a range of questions that we can write content to. And that's what will get us out of the gates. It'll get us starting to write some content. And then obviously we can do this then for weight loss and low blood pressure, high blood pressure, and a raft of everything else that's just to do with the medicinal before we start looking at the cooking and growing. That's what I said. There is the opportunity we will start ranking for a lot. So as you can see now, it's starting to populate the screen. I'm already logged in, as you can see. And the ability is if you log in and create a free account, it will do unlimited question searches for you. And I've used this tool literally from the start of the morning to the end of the night. It will just keep endlessly looking for these relatable conversations. But more importantly, you can export all this into your CSV file. Hence the reason we keep a resource file. We're trying to consolidate all this information into one place. We can do the refining and then distribute it out amongst our content or our visible platforms, be that websites, social media, emailing, wherever we need to be visual. So as you can see here already, How can I treat anxiety naturally? Well, obviously we can reference herbs and spices in there. Herbs will obviously be mentioned in there. Do any herbs help anxiety? Great question, and therefore you can go off and write a comfortable blog on that. What's the best herb to calm anxiety? Well, even if you've got, as we've seen with the medical news today, a hierarchy of 9 herbs, there might be one that's more relevant than or more effective, that's the right word, more effective than something else. So again, it's a great question to be posed. So this could be a sub question within that particular blog. I don't know. All I'm going to do is pull all this information out, export it to CSV. That comes down there, and you can see here's the information, and it puts it in a simple column. So all I do is I simply copy, bring it into my resource file, which I've got as used topics, and I just paste it there. And here I'm just going to put the title, herbs and anxiety. So I know what I search the term for specifically, and I always title it on the top. And again, I always select the top one, and I do put some filter on there if I'm looking for a particular phrase, and I also freeze the top row as well. So as I scroll down, I can still see the relevancy. And you can see it's given me probably about, allowing for the gaps, probably about 70, 75 particular questions, and it's how I use those now to build out my particular blog. Now that will come in the next video. We'll look to how we can just do this one particular blog, and you'll see then if we can do it once, we can rinse and repeat this process however many times. So that's the process briefly done of how we use the resource file. More importantly, why do we bring all those keywords into one place? Well, so we can group them, filter them, and then find in there the golden nugget. In this particular case, it's just one niche where we're looking at anxiety. Okay, see you in the next video. If you've got any comments or questions, put them in the section below, and I will come back to you on any one of those. In the meantime, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and likewise, please subscribe to the channel so I can start making more and more videos and hopefully giving you the insight to build out your brand and monetize it as well. My name is Andy. This is Insight Before Action. See you in the next video.